You might be using positive affirmations as part of your trauma recovery process, or maybe just as part of your daily grounding skills practice, and that's fine. But they also might not be helping at all. In this clip from a meetup with my course students, we break down why that is and talk in depth about how our thoughts are a reflection of the state that our body is in, but also how our thoughts affect our body's state. My name's Justin Sinceri. I'm a therapist, a coach, and the creator of the polyvagal trauma relief system. Welcome to Stuck Not Broken, where I teach you how to finally get relief from trauma using clear language and practical techniques. This podcast is not therapy, nor is it intended to be a replacement for therapy.
I'd like you to talk about how story follows state, or how the perspective follows the state.
So the words in our brain, not just the words, but also the images, anything happening in our brain that we are aware of, images, memories, words, all those, we call them stories. And they are triggered by the state that we're in. So that all, hello, you okay?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell if I heard a loud noise and you fell over or what. Gosh, you worry me. All right.
I need to plug in, that's all.
Okay, well, I looked away. I heard a loud noise. I looked back and you're gone. See, that's a good example. All right, so the noise and then looking down and seeing one of my students missing caused a slight, in that little moment, a slight, not dysregulation, but I noticed like a little bit of heat in my body. So an ever so slight drop down into my probably flight. Is more anxious than not. So the story that pops in my mind is, are you okay? And a visualization of you toppling over.
Yeah, okay. Something bad happened.
Something bad, yeah, exactly. So my brain is trying to explain, why am I feeling this way? So that's what the brain does. It tries to create like a reference point. Like, what can we do about this maybe? So I feel this activation. I'm mobile. I have a very slight amount of mobilization in my system. And my brain is like, this is what happened. I can't really do anything about it, but except say, hey, are you okay? So it gives me an image, and then also a potential solution or an attempt to like reach out and talk about it. So that's the idea of story follow state. We have something happens internally or extra. We have a state shift. We don't have to have a state shift. We're in a state, and then our thoughts follow that state, whether we shift state or not. Like the thoughts in our brain right now, the images and whatnot, are a direct result of the state that we're in right now in this moment, whether we shift or not. So that's the basic idea of story follow state. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this might be too meta, but what about like using like mantras or affirmations or whatever? Is the fact that you even have the thought to do that, is that part of your, I may be going like way too meta on this. Like it's kind of an affirmation repeated over and over will influence your state.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by the bird. Beth, I'm sorry, I got distracted by Robin's bird.
The bird is adorable, isn't it?
Yes.
Better than a picture.
This is, oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Beth. Go meta. Try it again.
That's okay. So using positive affirmations, you can influence your state, correct?
Yes.
I don't. Well, so I have a difficult relationship with affirmations because some of them are too cheesy and they just drive me crazy.
It feels like positivity to me. It's like it feels like mind manipulation to me.
Yes.
I think I use them more as a reminder. Like mine tend to be more like you can do hard things, or you're loved, or they are very general. I'm not trying to manifest anything. They're literally, I can do hard things. I know I can. I have before, and I continue to do them. And so it's more reminding myself.
So, okay, so the thoughts in our brain follow our state. I'm going to try and connect it to what you just said, Beth, because I think it's a really good point. And I'm with you. I agree. I think we're on the same page here. The thoughts that naturally occur in our brain follow the state that we're in. When I tell you to say something to feel better, that's a thought from my brain and my state.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard for you, not just you, in general you, it's hard to take that and embrace it as your own and then use it because it's not your thought. It doesn't come from your state. They're not your words. They're mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the story follows state, but also the flavor of the story follows your state. From your safety state, you can say things like, I love myself. And I am so curious about what my internal world is like. From your fight state, you can say, I love myself, but I don't know if it'll feel the same way.
Correct.
It might feel like, I love myself more than you, you asshole. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
the words might be very similar, but the flavor is going to be different. So that's a wrinkle I want to put into
your
here.
state.
Depending on your state. None of
That
what you
makes sense.
choose. Yeah, none of what you choose. Okay, so the word. So if I tell you, just say this, count from 10 down to 1, or tell yourself you're wonderful, tell yourself this and that. That might be in complete misalignment because I might be in my safety state and my flavor might be, oh, the world is beautiful. So this actually connects to what we talked about last time. And Flo, you had brought this up, which was, Justin, you're talking from a very safety state. When I was talking about how we're just one, we're always our true self no matter where we're at. The thoughts that I have from my state, if I try to give them to you and say, hey, do this, might be in misalignment with where you're at. And so the affirmations, I don't think are very helpful. And I'm imagining someone who is like white knuckling them, like on their sink. This is the image in my brain. Okay, they're at their sink, looking in the mirror, tears in their eyes, and they're desperately saying, "You're wonderful. You can do this. You got this." But they're white knuckling it. Like it's not in alignment. To me, that's not helpful. To me, that is, like, to put it bluntly, that's crazy making. Like that's not your thought. It is not in tune. And I don't think you're going to get yourself to believe that, especially in like a crisis moment like that. So yeah, I'm with you with the affirmations. I think affirmations are helpful when you're already like grounded in your safety state.
Yeah.
And you want to kind of just marinate in it and experience it and to give yourself, and to build on it. That's wonderful. That's great. But I worry about,
So I guess
about that.
that puts them in a toolbox as a body safety anchor then. If it's something that I have come up with that works for me, that I can pull out when I need it, then that is a BSA for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So what popped in my mind is, if you, like, I have one. So if maybe there's a thought you have that will trigger those safety feelings. And so that's your thought. And if you can recall that, if you're anchored enough to recall it and then feel it, you can anchor yourself further. But you obviously have to be anchored enough to to even have the thought, right? So there's that. But I know for me, I have this memory of playing Little League when I was like 12. And when I want to use my memory or my cognitions to anchor, I can summon that thought somehow, and I can feel that sense of curiosity and wonder and play. So that's mine. That's my thought. Telling me to count from 10 down to 1 is not going to help me out. Telling me to imagine a beam of light entering my body and how beautiful it is and how connected I am with the world does not work for me. That's not my thought. I don't think that way. I don't see things that way. That makes no sense to me. But yeah, Little League when you were 12, wasn't that great? Oh, that was the best. Instantly, my friend, he'll be like, "Hey, remember in high school we played video games and just be nerds all night? That's the best." Heck yeah, I do. So even if I'm dysregulated, he can be like, "Hey, remember that night where?" And that'll help because it's mine. It's in my brain already. It's aligned with something that's safe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed that clip. I have a nifty gifty for you. It is my polyvagal primary sources book list. This is from Deb Dana and Stephen Porges. Deb Dana is way more approachable as far as learning from than Dr. Porges. But if you love that academic, nerdy, truly primary source, then Dr. Stephen Porges' work is the place to go. So I compiled all of these for you in a list. It's just like a one-sheet list for you to download, and you can buy from there or make sure you have your Polyvagal primary sources book collection complete. You can go to justinlmft.com/polyvagal primary books. Again, justinlmft.com/polyvagal primary books, or just click the link in the description to sign up for my email list and get your checklist. Fellow Stucknut, again, I do hope this episode has been a helpful resource for you in your own process of learning about and applying the polyvagal theory to your trauma relief. Bye.
This podcast is not therapy, not intended to be therapy or be a replacement for therapy. Nothing in this creates or indicates a therapeutic relationship. Please consult with your therapist or seek for one in your area if you are experiencing mental health symptoms. Nothing in this podcast should be construed to be specific life advice. It is for educational and entertainment purposes only.